Thank you, Congressman Torres, for anchoring this very important special order hour today. And I also want to extend my deepest condolences to the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and my friend, the Honorable Joyce Beatty, who lost her dear husband a few days ago. He passed away. And he was a fine public servant and a fine civil rights champion, and he will be missed. And so we are there in prayer and in spirit with our dear sister. It's been said that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and yet the terrible atrocity that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma 100 years ago on May 31st and June 1st of 1921 has lived in the shadows for far too long. It's time that the truth be told. We must know our past or we are bound to repeat it. In 1921, the black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma was prospering despite a racist system designed to marginalize and exclude it and its residents from the fruits of those citizens' labor. It was a community known as Greenwood, and it was also known as the Black Wall Street. It was a thriving community. There were restaurants and grocery stores, hotels, theaters, banks, insurance companies, all owned by black people. This community was self-sufficient and it was prospering despite the fact that segregation was the norm and the lynching of black men was as common as the white hoods of the KKK. The simple fact is this: the black community was succeeding in Tulsa, so white people burned it down. White supremacy and Jim Crow were the sparks that lit the fire. The massacre occurred over a 24-hour period from May 30th to June 1st of 1921, and it all began like so many other racially motivated events, a false allegation against a black man, and in response, a white mob of thousands shot, beat, and murdered black residents, and they did it with impunity. They looted black homes and businesses and set fires in their wake, this white mob. And they were aided and abetted by the National Guard and also deputized killers, looters, and arsonists. 24 hours after the violence began, 35 city blocks lay in ruins. Not a single dwelling or business or building was left standing. Within months of the Greenwood Massacre, the KKK's Tulsa chapter became one of the nation's largest, because what better recruiting tool than plundering and killing blacks with impunity? No person has ever been held accountable on the state, local, or federal level, in the criminal courts or in the civil courts, for the atrocities committed against the black community and the black people of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And here we are today, 100 years later, still challenged by state-sanctioned violence against black people. Some things have changed, but some things remain the same. The events of January 6th, when Confederate flags flew inside and out of the Capitol, and where a hangman's noose was draped over a functional gallows constructed on the Capitol grounds to intimidate and terrorize, that proves that not much has changed. And I stand here today to tell you that we've had enough. It's time to fix America and rid racism from its soil. We must fix our country, and that starts with examining our past and looking at how we can heal together as a nation, and yes, reparation. Justice delayed is justice denied, and Black Americans in this country have been denied justice for far too long. Enough is enough. And at this time, I would like to read from the Tulsa Historical Society and Museum website. It's at tulsahistory.org. I want to read the following information that it publishes, which comes from the 2001 Tulsa Race Riot Commission report. On the morning of May 30th, 1921, a young black man named Dick Rowland was riding in the elevator in the Drexel building at 3rd and Main with a white woman named Sarah Page. The details of what happened vary from person to person. Accounts of an incident circulated among the city's white community during the day and became more exaggerated with each telling. Tulsa police arrested Rowland the following day and began an investigation. An inflammatory report in the May 31st edition of the Tulsa Tribune spurred a confrontation between black and white armed citizens around the courthouse, where the sheriff and his men had barricaded the top floor to protect Rowland. Shots were fired, and the outnumbered African Americans began retreating to the Greenwood district. In the early morning hours of June 1st, 1921, Greenwood was looted and burned by white rioters, as they are called. Governor Robertson declared martial law, and National Guard troops arrived in Tulsa. Guardsmen assisted firemen in putting out fires, took African Americans out of the hands of vigilantes, and imprisoned, locked them up, all black Tulsans not already interned. Over 6,000 people were held at the convention center and the fairgrounds, some for as long as 8 days. 24 hours after the violence erupted, it ceased. In the wake of the violence, 35 city blocks lay in charred ruins. More than 800 people were treated for injuries, and contemporary reports of deaths began at 36. Historians, however, now believe as many as 300 people may have died. In order to understand the Tulsa Race Massacre, it's important to understand the complexities of the times. Dick Rowland, Sarah Page, and an unknown gunman were the sparks that ignited a long smoldering fire. Jim Crow, jealousy, white supremacy, and land lust all played roles in leading up to the destruction and the loss of life on May 31st and June 1st, 1921. Black Tulsans had every reason to believe that Dick Rowland would be lynched after his arrest, and his charges, ironically, were later dismissed, and they were highly suspect from the start. They had cause to believe that his personal safety, like the defense of themselves and their community, depended on them alone. As hostile groups gathered and their confrontation worsened, municipal and county authorities failed to take actions to calm or contain the situation. At the eruption of violence, civil officials selected many men, all of them white, and some of them participants in that violence, and made those men their agents as deputies. In that capacity, deputies did not stem the violence, but added to it, often through overt acts that were themselves illegal. Public officials provided firearms and ammunition to individuals, again, all of them white. Units of the Oklahoma National Guard